What is Fashion Storyboard? It is an industry-inspired method of displaying original designs. So if you like to draw fashion designs, it is an excellent way for you to tell your story as a designer on a storyboard. When you're putting together your fashion storyboard, it's going to have to include three components: your original illustration or drawing. So whatever this drawing is that you've come up with this design, that is going to have to be included on your storyboard. We will look at a few storyboards in just a second that will hopefully help you understand a little better. Also, your storyboard will include flats. A flat is a flat drawing of the design that you've come up with. If you look on a pattern envelope, you'll see that there are many drawings of that outfit, and it's usually done in black and white. And in addition to that flat, you're also going to put all those things that inspired you to come up with this design. So on your board, you want to figure out an appealing way to have these three elements incorporated on your storyboard. In Brazos County, it's been a while since we've had storyboards entered for contests, so we would like to look at your storyboards at the county level so you can start designing your boards now and have them completed by March 28th, and then we will have them judged and we will give awards out at County Roundup. So, more about storyboards. Okay, so here we have an example of what a fashion storyboard might look like. A storyboard is always going to be based on a brief. Okay, so a brief is basically, it's going to give you a title, and then you're inspired by that title and you design based on that title. So we're going to use, for example, in these next few fashion storyboards, the 2009-2010 brief, which it was retro fashion. So if you look at the storyboard, you'll see retro fashion at the top. So you're always going to include the brief in the title. Okay, so in this one, if you look to your left, you'll see the pictures that inspired this design from the 70s. So in the left-hand corner, you see all the pictures that led up to this design. So if you look over to the middle, you see a black and white drawing there. That is your flat. So the designer of this dress chose to draw a flat of the front of that garment. Okay, and then if you look a little bit over to the right of that design, you will see the original design that was drawn. Okay, and then everything else on the board is going to reflect the inspiration of how that designer came up with this design for this dress. You'll see a fabric swatch on the bottom. You can just you can choose to do that, and then they use some subheadings on theirs as well to talk a little bit about that design, to try to bring that design to life. Okay, so we'll look at another one. Okay, so this next one, as you can see, it's a little bit different layout. Instead of having the storyboard displayed horizontally, it's displayed vertically, and it's up to you. You can do your layout either way, and it's using the same original design in this storyboard. Again, you'll see what the brief was. The brief for this one was also retro fashion, and this design was actually done by Taryn Oswald in Johnson County. And just to look at how she put her design together, her board together, her focus was obviously just looking the title of magazines. So she included those magazine covers on her board from the 70s. And then she also put some current magazine covers on. And that's one important thing about fashion. When you're a designer, you want to be very aware of what the current trends are. So that's how Taryn tied hers to the modern fashion. So this is how she interpreted her design. When your storyboards are being designed, when your storyboards are being judged, you are not present. So this board is going to have to do all the speaking for you. So whoever's judging that board, they're going to need to try to figure out what you were trying to say. So you want to give as much information in a very attractive layout on how to do this story. Okay, so we have different categories that you can design a board on, and we'll look at exactly what those 4 categories are. But this is a storyboard from District 8 that also used that same thing, but it focused on a non-wearable pet category. So if you look, again, the design brief is retro fashion, but this 4-H member, they felt like they needed a subtopic to help explain their storyboard. So they went ahead and added that onto the storyboard, and they even included 2 original drawings, and you'll see one over to the left and you'll see one over to the right of their design. And then if you look underneath each one of those original designs, you will see their flat. Okay, and you choose what you want to help that board, what you want to use to help tell the story. So in this case, this 4-H member used some fabric swatches that they're going to choose to use for this outfit. And also they included some of the ribbons that they're going to use, and then they did a good job of labeling. You want to make sure that whenever you label whatever items you're putting on your board, that you label them clearly enough and that it has really good readability, so that whoever's judging that board doesn't have to come really close to it to see it, that they can stand back and get a good look at your board. Okay, so here's another one that that also is the non-wearable pet thing. Okay, so they used their flats over to the right. You see they had 2 versions of their flats because they're saying this design can be used with a full length or a shorter length. So they included flats for both of those. And if you continue looking over on that right hand side, you will also see that they chose to include some of the thread. They found an attractive way to show their thread colors that they were going to use. So that, to me, that was really creative, how they actually made it look like a spool. They also used a subheading on theirs, A Dog's Life. And then added some additional information. They did the trim fabric description and a few other things on here. It was really neat the way that they actually went out and found the fabric that they were going to use, that they included on the drawing, and attached that to their board. Okay, so what's the purpose of all this? I've touched on a little bit before, but you want to create original designs based on your knowledge of elements and principle of design. So you do want to have some knowledge of elements and principles of design, and I've included links to 2 videos on elements and principles of design that you can choose to look at. Those are YouTube videos, and I will get to those in just a brief moment. Also, what these storyboards do, they provide an opportunity to display your original designs. You know, oftentimes I can remember as a kiddo, I would draw these designs and just have them in notebook after notebook, sketchbook after sketchbook. But you can move them beyond that sketchpad, and actually enter them to a contest. And you want to use the storyboard format. And I'm going to also include a link to where I found this presentation and just added narration to. But there's also another presentation that's on Storyboard. It's actually called Presentation Board on that same page, and it tells you a whole lot of information about how to design your layout. And also, a purpose is for visual communication skills, to enhance those skills. These boards are going to be judged when you're not present, so basically you will have to do an excellent job communicating your what you're trying to say to those people you're designing for, or the audience that you're designing for. And also, you can develop knowledge of career responsibilities as a designer or as a fashion illustrator. So these are helpful for you designing these now if you're interested in a career in fashion where you want to design or be an illustrator or draw fashion. Okay, I'm really excited about the 2015-16 design brief. So your design brief for this year is hashtag 4H Fashion Storyboard 2016. Isn't that exciting? I think that I'm definitely going to do a storyboard, and hopefully it'll be ready by our next workshop. But I really like this topic. It's really a sign of the times. Social media has become a stage not only to set fashion trends, but also a lot of designers are discovered because of their designs on social media. And by social media, I mean outlets like Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and YouTube. So the audience who are looking for design can easily find those designs and it become a conversation piece. So, it's really important that you know those trends and do your designs according to the trends, and hopefully your designs can go viral and you can, on down the road, maybe have a career in design. Okay, so there are some guidelines as with everything in 4-H. So you want to make sure that you only enter one storyboard. Now, I do encourage you to create as many storyboards as you want, and especially if you want to design a few using this year's design brief, and then just choose the one that you think will compete the best, or the one that you like the best. So you can only enter one into the contest, but you can design as many as you like. Fashion Storyboard must include the original design. It must include the flat, as well as support material. Those different inspirations that led you to that design. And then the board itself will need to be 20 by 30 inches. It will need to be on either a foam core or a mat board. And again, it can be done as a vertical display or a horizontal display, and you can choose the color that you like for that mat board. You can go to places like Michael's or also Hobby Lobby, and if they don't have the boards already in that size, you can have them cut it in that size, so that way you can have a nice clean cut on your board. Fashion storyboards must have the labels affixed to the back of the board, and anything that you affix or you attach to that board, you want it to be well adhered to that board. You want it to stick on there well, so whenever it's being transported, you're not worried about things coming off that board. So make sure the label and anything that you put on that board is put on there well. So you might want to, while you're at your hobby shop buying that foam board, you might want to ask for some suggestions on how to get your items to stick on that board. Your storyboard will be judged again without an interview, so you're going to need that board to tell the story. The different categories you can enter are wearable, so anything that you can wear as a person, you can design a piece on that and create a storyboard. If you're into accessory designs, caps, hats, scarves, shoes, handbags, you can enter it as an accessory. Or you can do a storyboard on jewelry. If you like to design jewelry, you can show your skills on that. Or if you would like to do non-wearable and pet clothing, that's another one that you can do. So those are the 4 categories that you can enter. So whatever you design is going to need to comfortably fit into one of those 4 categories. And then each storyboard will be evaluated based on the storyboard score sheet. So I always encourage you, anytime you're in any contest, look at that score sheet and let that help you guide what you're doing, because it's really going to help you as a competitor compete better. Okay, so here is a look at the label that you're going to have to attach to the back. So that there's a link at the top on where you can find this label for your storyboard. Complete it out, fill out the form completely, and then attach it to the back of your storyboard. Okay, and then here's your score sheet. So I just added the top portion of that score sheet, but you want to have your score sheet completed and turn it in as well. What you're just going to complete your information, like your name, your county. We're in Brazos County. Your district is District 9. If you're 3rd grade through 5th grade, you're a junior. If you're 6th through 8th grade, you're intermediate. If you're 9th through 12th, then you're a junior. And then decide which category your storyboard best tells the story in. Okay, so here's one final storyboard that we're going to look at. This was actually created by a Clover kid. So, with that being said, if you are a Clover kid, okay, you're kindergarten through 2nd grade and you would like to do a storyboard, we welcome your participation. Everyone who participates who's a Clover will be recognized. Okay, so to get started, again, there is your brief at the top, your design brief. It says hashtag 4-H Fashion Storyboard 2016. So you're going to use that, and whatever that inspires you to come up with, whatever design inspires you to come up with. So with the inspiration, think about social media and its influence on fashion. Research the specific thought that comes to mind. So whatever that first thought that comes to mind, research that just a little bit more. Then you're going to create your original design. So take an idea from the research that you started on that original design, and then take that design that you created and then add elements from social media that you researched. Current trends, you want to be aware of those again. So you look in magazines, TV, internet, and see what you can come up with to see what the current trends are. We know fashion does tend to run in cycles, but you want to know what the current trends are now. And then you develop, you can develop the theme or mode or spirit. So what do you want the board to tell your audience? Then that's going to become the unifying force for everything on that board. Again, you want to put it together where it really looks attractive. I strongly advise you to look at the other presentation that's on the Texas 4-H website that's titled Presentation Board, and it has some excellent tips. I believe that was put together from Texas Tech, but there's some really good information in there. And then the layout is going to determine how the viewer sees and comprehends the content and idea of the theme. So once you've designed your board, you've turned it in, then it's up to the audience to interpret what you were trying to say. Okay, so here are the links to some additional study on elements and principles of design. I really want you to become familiar with the elements and principles. There's also on the Texas 4-H websites under clothing and textiles some just some handouts if you prefer just to look at a handout rather than a video. And this first one was by Alicia Meyer, and she does a good job talking about the different elements. Now, personally, I like Stefani's presentation a little bit better because it's more educational. It has a little more education in it. But one of her fashion drawings is a little bit skimpy, so I want your parents to look at that one and before she allows you to look at it. Before you look at it. And then there's one other one that's on how to draw fashion sketches. So if you haven't been sketching, or if you're not familiar with how to fashion sketch, There is also a video, a short video on that you can watch on fashion sketching. Also, if you go to your stores like Barnes and Noble, I know I've found a really good book on fashion drawing there. It's called The Secrets of Fashion Drawing, and the book was only $4, but it gives you information whether you're a beginner at drawing or whether you're very experienced. So if you can find those fashion books out there, there's even some apps that you might want to choose for your phone, if your parents allow you to do that as well. Okay, so this presentation was adapted from Introduction to Storyboard, which according to Texas 4-H was updated on 8/17/11, and there's a link to where you can find this storyboard presentation. And actually it's in a little bit different of a design, so if you prefer to actually look at this without hearing my voice, it's there. And then for more information on layouts and to view the presentation on the same site, you can see the presentation board. Like I say, it's just going to show you a lot of different layouts if you're brand new to putting together storyboards. So in the fashion industry, that's how a lot of designers are discovered. Companies want to start off by seeing their storyboards or their portfolios. So this will be a great start if you're serious about doing fashion design. If you have any questions, as always, you can contact me at the Brazos County Extension Office, and it's been great talking to you. Best wishes.